I mean, we don't have Mark here.
Welcome, everyone, to Football Friday, presented by Football Addicts Anonymous. Apologize for the delay. Got out of class at around, 2:45. I was not, didn't have time to get the script and the PowerPoint done, so had to do it real quick on the fly when we got home here. So PowerPoint's probably not going to be the best one we've ever had on here, but it's fine. Just Chris and I today. Chris is going through spots of service and no service, so we'll bear with
I should be fine now.
Well, you're frozen for a second there, but anyways, got a full slate of NFL preseason action starting off tonight. It is College Football Week 0, y'all. We made it. There are games that count tomorrow. For the average fan, probably games that you will not watch because they're not the greatest of matchups. That tends to happen early on in the college season. But, yeah, we had a bunch of trades, one more notable than the other couple. And a lot of NFL news. It's getting to that time of year. Cut starting. We'll have cut down to 53 next week. We have our fantasy draft, our real money fantasy league this weekend. So that's exciting. And before we get into the Saints and Jags recap, want to shout out the alma mater, Northern. Northern's playing tonight, their first game of the high school season. They're going to hosting Redland, I believe. So good luck, boys. Just shouting them out since I helped them when I was home a little bit. So anyways, we did have one game to recap this week. It was on Monday night. Saints beat the Jags 23-21. Shouldn't have been that close. The backup Saints defenders really let Gardner Minshew and CJ Beathard just throw it wherever they wanted, essentially. And so that kind of, brought into the thing that we've been saying all along. The Saints are not deep, especially defensively. So I don't know, Chris. I mean, I'm just saying that they're going to be in trouble with a couple injuries. I mean, they already are at the wide receiver position. They already have a bunch of guys out, a couple guys out there. So, but anyways, I think the biggest storyline, this one, Jameis. Jameis looked fantastic. Won the quarterback job, which we'll talk about. But yeah, 2 drives, 9 for 10, 123, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, almost a perfect quarterback rating. No thoughts on Jameis, Chris? Not sure what is going on, but anyways, we'll keep rolling here. Chris, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Chris? Chris, your thoughts on the Saints game, on Jameis specifically? Okay. Well, anyways, while Chris gets his connectivity going, Chris, can you actually hear me now? Marquez Callaway had a great connection with Jameis Winston, over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, all 5 receptions there. Lil Jordan Humphrey also with a touchdown. That one came from Taysom Hill. And now we have 2 Chris's. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know how that's possible. But anyways, you can actually hear me though now.
Yes, I can finally hear you. I can see you moving.
Okay, cool. Oh, the other Chris went away now. That's what we like to see. But anyways, like I was trying to ask you before for a couple minutes, your thoughts on Jameis and the fantastic game that he had.
I mean, I've been a believer in Jameis pretty much ever since he came to the Saints, because I knew that Sean Payton and co would be able to kind of shape him up a little bit. I mean, we saw flashes last year when he was able to play, like that one play that he had, I think, against his former team, the Buccaneers, when he threw that deep touchdown pass. And that kind of just continued into this preseason and into this game too. And I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I wasn't surprised with the news about him being named the starter. So, I mean, I just obviously the last time he was a starter was the year that he threw 30 and 30.
Yeah.
I don't really see that happening with the Saints. Obviously, they have their I guess you could say issues with the wide receiver. I mean, I know you were the one thing I did hear you say before was about the lack of depth that the Saints do have, and that is true. The Saints have no depth pretty much anywhere on their roster, except for maybe running back. That might be the only position they actually have depth in. But some of those other lesser-known guys, though, on the offense, like mostly in the wide receiver group, like the one guy, Callaway, right? I think his name is.
Yeah, Marquez Callaway.
Yeah, he's had a phenomenal preseason. I'd be surprised if he doesn't make the roster at this point. And he just adds another weapon for Jameis to throw to. But even without Michael Thomas for the few games that he'll be out, I think that Jameis Winston will be fine throwing to Traquan Smith and Callaway, and I don't know whoever else will be there for them. I mean, is Chris Hogan still on the team? I think so.
I believe so. He hasn't played though, to my knowledge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but once he does play, I think he'll be a solid player for them. So I don't know. I feel like this has been the narrative with the Saints this year so far, but I don't think that the offense will be a problem. I think it'll be more the defensive side of the ball.
I don't know. Chris Hogan did play against the Ravens in game 1. Just didn't get any targets in this one if he did play. But yeah, Marquez Callaway, Lil Jordan Humphrey looked good. Offensively for the Jags, Gardner Lawrence was so. Like we were talking about before, the Jags had some starting O-line out still, specifically Cam Robinson at left tackle, Andrew Norwell at guard. So I think once they get those 2 guys back in there, be more protection for Trevor Lawrence there, and he won't have to run around as much, but wasn't as sharp in this one. Saints starting defense is pretty solid. So, but yeah, I think Gardner Minshew has the hold on the backup job, but CJ Beathard definitely made a push in this one with 2 touchdown drives there. And it kind of hurt because that Minshew, his pick was right in the red zone, right inside the 10-yard line. So,
well, whoever doesn't win the backup job for Jacksonville, though, I think they have a shot at latching on with somebody as the backup. Because obviously there's other options out there, but they're not the guys in Jacksonville are not nearly as expensive. I'm talking about Nick Foles here. I mean, Nick Foles is probably better than the guys in Jacksonville, but he still costs way too much. So if I were a team looking for an experienced backup, I think I'd look for whoever gets cut from Jacksonville.
Well, I don't think either of those guys are getting cut. I think they're going to keep 3 and then hope to stash Jake Luton on the practice squad if they can. If not, Jake Luton going somewhere else isn't a terrible thing for the Jags. So even though, he was a draft pick last year. So defensively, or actually before we go to defense, I felt really bad for Kevin White in this game. Kevin White came in the second half, played a little bit with Taysom, and then the majority of the game he was playing with Trevor Siemian. Actually, no, Taysom played a lot of the second half. Siemian played most of the fourth quarter. But, he was playing with Taysom, and they had back-to-back designed plays for him. Dropped the first one, and you're like, okay, you dropped that one. That's on you. But it's okay. It's okay. We'll go back to you. Next freaking play, dude. They throw it right to him again, and he drops it again. And they like we said, I mean, they were having depth issues with Thomas and probably Deontay Harris being out as well for the first few. But I don't think Kevin White can make it. You got to catch the ball. So, but anyways, defensively, star of the game, Wynton McManus for the Saints. Backup linebacker trying to make the roster. 3 pass selections and a pick, was all over the field with 7 tackles, 5 of them being solo. So I think that's really the only guy to discuss a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he was a big factor, but that was a big performance, especially since, like, I know you're one of the people that's been very vocal about how bad the Saints linebacking core is. So the fact that he was able to show up and actually perform, even if it was against like third stringers or whatever else, it still shows that they have somewhat of a good backup there.
Yeah. Just looking at who they have at linebacker right now on the roster, Zach Bond, Demario Davis, Chad Hansen, or Chase Hansen, not Chad Hansen. He's a wide receiver.
I was going to say, wait, he switched to linebacker?
Let's see, Pete Warner. Yeah, so Bond, Davis, and Warner are going to be the starters. You got Caden Ellis, Chase Hansen, and then really, I mean, Wynton McManus is probably going to be the next guy. Oh, they have Quan Alexander too. Forgot about him. But other guys, Andrew Dowell, Shaq Smith, and Marcus Willoughby. Not sure about those guys. So, but yeah, a couple of guys with sacks there: Jalen Dalton, Jihad Ward, Dwayne Smoot, and Chappelle Russell. Jags covered +4, over 40 hits. I was telling Chris, I know there's a lot of people up in arms and mad about that because the Saints were up 23-3. The under was covering. The Saints were covering. They're -4. And then the Saints defense let up and CJ Beathard led 2 touchdown drives. So, yeah, that did not help at all. It also didn't help that they got a 2-point conversion that would have pushed the 4 points. So, anyways, that was that game on Monday. Let's go to NCAA news. Big one. I was really hoping Mark was going to be on today. I also attempted to get a special guest on today to talk about this, but he wasn't available either. So I guess we'll have a mild conversation, a pretty short one, because I don't think, as far as I know, Chris, either of us are really in tuned to what this is about. A lot of it is about anyways. So the Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12, they officially announced that they are forming an alliance. One of the elements that I saw was the inclusion of scheduling games in between all 3 of the conferences, non-conference games there. This is difficult because of how far out collegiate schedules go. 10 years for some matchups. So the scheduling part is difficult. And again, it would most likely only affect college football and men's and women's basketball. But yeah, I don't really know much about the alliance.
I mean, kind of like you just said, though, with college football, these things come out, or not college football, but with college in general, these kind of things happens years in advance. I mean, like what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago with the playoff expansion and stuff, that's still years away. So I tend not to really take these bits of news too seriously until it gets closer and closer to when it's actually going to happen. That being said, though, I mean, the 3 conferences that you mentioned are very big conferences in terms of like the teams that are in it are very good schools and popular teams. So, I mean, if they're all in an alliance to have like games against each other and stuff, again, I kind of said this before when we were talking about the other, like some of the teams dropping from the Big 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm all for whatever makes the best TV. So if that means these 3 conferences are going to make the alliance and make the games against each other or whatever, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, and their goal was to promote their academic interests because they believe that collegiate athletics is pushing too closely to the professional boundary. So they really want to try to promote the academic side of being the student athlete. As anyone that is in a sport management program or has been in one knows the meaning of why student comes before athlete in this phrase student athlete. But yeah, that also, I had something else in my mind that I wanted to say about it and it just went away. So probably not going to say that. Yeah, I don't remember what I was getting at there. But anyways, NFL news. Let's see, how many trades did we have? 5. 5 trades. And I only did one slide for the most notable one, but we'll talk about the other ones quickly before we get to the biggest one here. So the Texans, they traded corner John Reed to the Seahawks for a conditional 2023 7th-round selection. Breaks up the Reed brothers. Actually, no, Eric is not in Houston anymore. I don't believe. Anyways,
I don't remember where he went, but I don't think he's in Houston.
I just remember that they had been together for a little bit. But yeah, John Reed, my Penn State boy, so gets a new team in Seattle.
I mean, I don't know if that. I mean, like you said, it wasn't a big trade. Obviously, it was for a 7th-round pick. So usually those trades are kind of just like whatever. Like he wasn't going to make the Texans roster anyway. But we're talking about a corner going to Seattle, and we all know that cornerback is one of their weakest positions. So who knows? Maybe he actually does make a big impact on their team.
Yeah, and it's a conditional pick to boot in 2023. So a lot of the times when teams send conditional 7th-round picks, there's a lot of times where those conditions don't get met, and then no pick is actually exchanged. Or, it is a definite 7th-round pick, and then it turns into a 6th if something happens. A lot of times with lower level players, it's all right. Is he on the roster? Does he make the 53 man? How many games is he on the 53 man? Next trade here, the Panthers making a couple moves, actually. They traded linebacker Denzel Perriman and a 2022 7th to the Raiders and get back a 2022 6th-round pick. So they move up around, trade Perriman to the Raiders. Just like you were saying with the Seahawks, linebacker was the weakest link on the Raiders defense. They were having depth issues. I know they talked about that in the Raiders Rams game that they had this past weekend. It's just like you said again, like John Reed, Perriman wasn't going to make the roster in Carolina with the emergence of Jermaine Carter. So got something out of him at least. And the other trade that the Panthers were involved in, they traded a conditional 2022 7th-round selection to the Giants for kicker Ryan Santoso. Now, we talked about Santoso drawing trade interest throughout the league. Panthers, Joey Sly has been terrible this offseason, this preseason and training camp. So, intriguing move. The condition in order for the Giants to get the 7th-round selection is if Santoso is on the roster for 2 games. That's it. Which I think he will be. I think this game tonight for the Panthers will really decide it. If Sly has a bad night and Santoso has a good one, I don't think there's any question. Now, like I said when we were talking about Santoso on Monday, I really don't know much about him. I had never heard of his name before that report that he was getting trade interest. So we'll have to see. But it was also interesting, I thought, or weird that Sly was struggling. The Panthers signed a guy named Dominic Eberle, who was a German kicker, I believe. Then they waived him right after they traded for Santoso. So, and the thing is that Eberle looked good apparently in practice, the couple days that he had.
I don't know. Maybe they just thought that Santoso was better, regardless of how good the other guy looked. But we were talking about this trade pre-show, and you brought up the other guy too from Indy, Pinheiro. He's still out there, so I'm kind of surprised that they didn't go after a guy like him, and instead they traded. I mean, you said it was a conditional pick, so if he doesn't even make the roster, then they don't lose the pick anyway. But still, I think Pinheiro is a better kicker in general. So I don't know. It's weird to see him still not have a job at the moment. But yeah, I think this is one of the biggest, quote unquote, biggest position battles still left in the NFL. And I wonder if we're really going to see the effects of not having the fourth preseason game and having to make the decision too quickly.
Yeah.
Because they only have tonight pretty much to decide which kicker they want to go with.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, it's never guaranteed how many kicking opportunities you're going to get in a game either. So.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, Pinheiro, we'll see about if he latches on anywhere. The last trade before we get to the big one, this one actually was kind of big. I shouldn't say before we get to the big one, because this was weird as well. The Ravens, they traded 2021 fifth round rookie corner Shaun Wade to the Patriots for a 2022 seventh and a 2023 fifth round selection. So it's interesting. They get the original pick back in 2 years, and then they add a seventh rounder to next year's selections. So I mean that's good. That's good for the Ravens. They got more value out of him than what they used on him.
Yeah,
also weird. They traded a fifth rounder.
Yeah, the NFL is probably one of the sports where you don't really see the draft picks from this year being traded around. Obviously, it's like a commonplace thing for like the NBA because they get traded the second they get drafted. But yeah, for the NFL, you never really see draft picks from this year get traded. Yeah, you see them get cut and then sign with somebody else, but hardly ever do you see one get traded. But again, this was a weird trade, not only for that though, but I feel like the Ravens really needed corner help, and I thought Shaun Wade was pretty good coming out of the draft, and I was surprised that he fell to the fifth round. So I don't know. Maybe they know something that we obviously don't know, but
well, on the Ravens defense, the secondary is by far the strongest unit on the defense, because they've had a bunch of corners for a couple of years now, and just adding to it with Shaun Wade, they felt like they had too many guys. And like I said before, it's a good ROI, return on investment, right away. It's short selling your stock here. So, and the Patriots, I don't necessarily know if they needed more corners, because just like the Ravens, I thought that the Patriots had always been pretty decent at the cornerback position. So we'll see if we can latch on or not.
I don't know. Maybe they're just preemptively solving the inevitable departure of Stephon Gilmore.
True. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he's going to have to make the roster as a fifth or sixth corner probably, and then, play special teams predominantly during his rookie season. I just have a hard time trading anything above a sixth round pick and not keeping the guy that you traded for the same year anyways. Yeah. So if he gets cut, I feel like that would be a terrible trade for the Patriots. And
there was no conditions in this trade, right? It was just straight up a fifth and a seventh.
Yeah. And I think that if Sean Wade doesn't make the Patriots roster, he's going to be one of the top free agents out of cuts. So also, this actually makes 2 years in a row top 5 round picks get traded the same season, as we saw Lynn Bowden get traded last year, 3rd round pick for the Raiders, go into the Dolphins. So
didn't Isaiah Wilson get traded last year too, or was that this year he got traded?
this spring.
So it wasn't the same year, but
yeah. Okay, let's get to the big trade here. We do have a slide for this one. So the Patriots traded running back Sony Michel to the Los Angeles Rams for conditional 2022 5th and 6th round selections. Now, that condition is that if or when the Rams acquire a 4th round compensatory pick, those 5th and 6th round picks from the Rams combine into and change to a 4th round pick that is their compensatory pick. And they are expecting to have a 4th round comp pick next season because of the Josh Johnson signing by Cleveland, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So that's where they think they're going to get that pick from. But yeah, we'll talk about Darrell Henderson's injury in a bit. Cam Akers already done for the year. Xavier Jones also got dinged up, I believe, in this past preseason game. So,
I mean, Sony Michel, though, ever since he's been in the league, I can't really remember his days in college, but ever since he's been in the league, he hasn't really been a featured back. So, I mean, obviously you just went over all the injury issues that are going through the Rams running back room, but it sounds like Sony Michel is going to see significant playing time and significant carries and stuff like that, which I don't know if he was the type of back that I would have went with for that purpose. Obviously, he's been pretty good in a committee role with James White or whoever else that they've had over the years in New England. But although I do think that this obviously helps Michel's fantasy value a lot. But, yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Plus, this trade also kind of causes a little bit of a ripple effect. And I don't know. I don't know if the Rams are going to sign anybody now like we had thought for all these weeks.
Right. Yeah. I agree. And I will say that Sony Michel isn't the healthiest running back either. He has had injury issues as well throughout his career so far. And that's why I want everyone to keep this nugget in the back of your mind, especially fantasy. I know I just cut him. Or no, I haven't cut him yet, but he is one of my projected cuts in Dynasty. But Jake Funk, I am telling you, dude, 7th round pick out of Maryland. He's gonna make the roster. He'll play special teams. That's fine. But when Sony Michel and Darrell Henderson get injured, Jake Funk will be there. And I left out Xavier Jones in that conversation because Xavier Jones to me is not a between the tackles runner. So I view Xavier Jones as more of a pass catcher and not really big enough to run between the tackles. But Jake Funk is. So just saying, keep in mind, keep the Funk in mind. And for New England, though, pretty solid value. 4th round selection, eventually, for a guy that was in a committee role. And I think also for New England, this freed up a spot to be able to keep a guy that has been having a really good preseason, and that is J.J. Taylor. I believe 2nd year out of Arizona. I could be wrong on the year he is in, but yeah, I think that's really one of the reasons why the Patriots wanted to do this, so they could make sure J.J. Taylor is on the roster, as well as Ramondre Stevenson, because they had a bunch of backs with Damian Harris, James White, Sony Michel, J.J. Taylor, Ramondre Stevenson. I think I just named 5. So now they can keep those 4 since Sony. And I can't even pull up J.J. Taylor because, like I said in pre-show, my phone just randomly goes to 1 bar at sometimes, 1 bar of service at sometimes, and it's just weird like that. So anyways, I can pull up J.J. Taylor now, though, just to see. Yeah, 2nd year out of Arizona. So yeah, enough on Sony Michel. I think we covered that pretty well. I can rhyme. I know it. I'm pretty good at that. Anyways, running back news. More running back news. NFL news, I should say. We'll keep the Rams up on the docket. So, like I said, running back Darrell Henderson, he has a sprained thumb day to day with that one, so not major. But just adding to the list of injuries that Darrell Henderson has had in his short career so far. I'm just saying.
I'm kind of it's obviously the or but also it's kind of like a bummer for somebody like Henderson, who he was poised to have a big season. Not saying that he won't still have a big season once he comes back, but yeah, it was a sprained thumb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I would think, especially for a running back, that's an injury that would probably need to be healed almost fully for him to come back from. And if this is a nagging injury that keeps going all year, then it's going to be a bad year for him.
Yeah, I agree. And if you have Darrell Henderson in fantasy right now, you better be trading for Sony Michel. Don't over trade for it though. For him. All right, Saints, more issues with the Saints, more depth issues coming for the Saints. This time at the tight end position. 2 guys went out of Monday night's game at that position. Adam Troutman, he hurt his foot and ankle, probably out about 1 to 3 weeks. So maybe week 1 is still in play for him. And then I haven't heard any update, but Nick Vannett also, he has a knee injury. But like I said, I haven't know what that is.
I don't know, but all I know is that Troutman's just lucky that he was like my 4th tight end on my roster. So otherwise, I'd be very upset about this. But I'm pretty set at the tight end position in our dynasty league. So
I have no idea who's going to play for them at tight end now. Like it's specifically this week. Tomorrow they play their. Actually, wait, did that just? I thought they had moved that game.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be Sunday night, but they moved it to Sunday at 1 o'clock, I think. Unless that was a
Right.
different game I saw.
But now, yeah, I missed that one. Yeah, the Saints Cardinals game's actually canceled because of the hurricane,
Huh.
Hurricane Ida. So yeah, Saints Cardinals not going this weekend. So that helps them. They don't have to worry about who's going to play tight end in this game.
Yeah, but that also could hurt them in the sense that they didn't get a third game to evaluate their team.
Yeah.
So this is just obviously you can't control things like a hurricane or any sort of weather like that, but this is just another negative note about the three preseason games.
Right. Yeah.
Because now those two teams only get two, so they don't get as much evaluation time in real game situations. But
yeah, I think the Saints definitely needed it.
Yeah,
lack of depth. The Jags, they placed rookie running back Travis Etienne on IR, ending his season before it started. He has a Liz Frank tear in his foot. He's going to have surgery on that. It was weird to me that they put him on IR to end his season, because initially I think it was Ian Rappaport that said he'll have surgery, minimum 12 weeks. So you're going to miss the majority of the season being out 12 weeks. And I guess that was cause, and the Jags were like, well, we're probably not going to be in contention by the time that he would come back anyways. Might as well just let him get a whole year's rest and come back next season.
Yeah. This was very unfortunate, though, because he was one of the players I was very excited to see coming out of the draft this year. And then especially not the fact that he was drafted to Jacksonville, because I don't think anybody really cares about Jacksonville, but just the fact that he was reunited with Trevor Lawrence. And I was looking forward to see the chemistry between those two kind of keep going. But, was he taking reps at the running back position again, or was he still doing the whole wide receiver thing like he was earlier in camp?
I saw him, just based off Monday, that was the only time I had ever watched him play for the Jags. It looked like he was majority of playing running back.
Yeah, so, I don't know what they really had planned for him. Obviously, like I said, he was lined up at wide receiver a lot at the beginning of camp, but then in the games, he was probably mostly a running back. But if nothing else, like I said, obviously I'm kind of sad to see him not play this year, but this is a big impact on fantasy because obviously that him going down takes away a running back, but it also, I think, makes James Robinson's status go up too, because now he doesn't have to share the ball, at least not as much as he would have probably if Etienne was playing.
Yeah, I agree. James Robinson's fantasy stock skyrocketed after this news came down, and I know a lot of people now are ranking James Robinson as RB15. So, not sure if that's accurate. Who knows? But
he's not really a receiving back, if I can remember correctly. So, and I feel like that is kind of what Etienne was and what Lawrence probably prefers. So I don't know. Obviously, like I said, James Robinson's going to get the carries, but I don't know if they have another guy to go out and catch it from the backfield on the roster right now.
Yeah. That's what I was about to get into too. Is like who do they actually have that can catch the ball out of the backfield? Because they have James Robinson, Carlos Hyde. I would think that Dare Ogunbowale would probably be the best receiver, but actually it probably is James Robinson. I think he'll surprise people with how well he can catch the ball. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if given the opportunities, he would have a decent receiving line this year. Okay. Quarterback news. The Falcons, they worked out quarterback Blake Bortles, but they signed quarterback Josh Rosen after AJ McCarron was done for the year. They got another backup. Now, Rosen's been around in a very short amount of time. But is he actually going to be the guy that they go with behind Matt Ryan? That's a big question.
I mean, at the moment, there's not many options out there. Obviously, you mentioned Blake Bortles. I know your guy, RG3, is still out there. And obviously, there's going to be a couple more names out there when the season starts, or even after this weekend, because the teams are going to have to cut down and all that. So there's going to be a couple more names out there. But, yeah, I don't know. Josh Rosen was an interesting choice for me. Obviously, like you just said, he's bounced around a lot in his 4 years in the league now, 3 years in the league. I don't know. And he really hasn't had a fair shot other than his rookie year in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe in all his stops, he's actually been getting better and becoming a decent quarterback. But yeah, I think that this was mostly a result of best available right now.
Yeah. I could not disagree with that assessment. But other quarterback news, obviously we already said Jameis Winston has won the job in New Orleans, but I'll add he now being the starter has the opportunity to make $7 million extra dollars in incentives, playtime incentives this year, which is huge. A lot of money on the table for Jameis, and should be able to hit a majority of the incentives, I would think. Okay. Also, quarterback, the Bears quarterback Justin Fields, he will start this week in the preseason for Chicago. They're resting Andy Dalton, letting him rest up a couple of weeks to get ready for week 1. So probably half of Justin Fields.
Wait, so they had already announced that Andy Dalton was the starter?
Matt Nagy's been saying that all offseason, so probably.
Oh, I don't know. I just assumed that there was an open competition there too, or at least they weren't going to say that there was a starter. But I mean, I'm not really surprised because I didn't think Justin Fields was going to be the starter. But I am very interested to see. I mean, I've been saying all. See how teams approach this game, start game, or who they played in last week's games and who they're not going to play. it'll be without that fourth game.
Yeah. Justin Fields, like I said, I think he's going to play probably the first half, and then that'll be it, and then they'll turn it over to Nick Foles or whoever. We already got through Colts waiving kicker Eddie Pinheiro. The Panthers locking up a guy for another 2 seasons. Your boy, wide receiver Robbie Anderson, 2 years, $29.5 million, $20.5 million guaranteed. Love it. He's going to get another opportunity to hit free agency at the age of 30.
Hey, I mean, this is a good move on the Panthers' part because he was only under contract for this season coming up, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so this is a good preemptive thing for the Panthers because obviously, I mean, he's been a great receiver for them since he's been there. But not only that, but now they have his former quarterback as their starting quarterback. And at the moment, Sam Darnold seems to be the future at the position for the Panthers. So why not go out and get him a guy that he's comfortable throwing to? Or lock up, I should say, not go out and get because they already had him. But, you know, that was a smart move on their part, I think. What were the dollars though for that deal?
2 years, $29.5 million, 20.5 guaranteed.
Yeah, so I mean that was more than he was making. I think it was 10 years or 10 million annual for him in the deal that he had in place already, I think. So it's a little bit of a pay raise for him, and I think that's a pretty solid deal for him too.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I love Robbie Anderson. I think he's a great fit in Carolina, and I'm not sure if he'll get signed again after his deal's up. But I'm just looking at the Twitter feed, and dude, Ryan Santoso for the Panthers, they had like a video on their social media page saying, you know, look how big he is. Dude, the man is 6'5", 260 as a kicker.
Jesus.
Yeah, just massive. And wow, looks like it's going to be a great weather for the Eagles Jets game tonight, Chris, huh?
Yeah, it's great weather. I mean, I haven't hit it yet. I'm going down to Jersey, but apparently it's been pouring all day there, so we'll see how it goes.
I just see some videos from the Eagles social media. It is absolutely pouring at MetLife right now. So we'll have to wait and see how sloppy that game is. I mean, I know I'll be watching it, so.
Yeah. Hey, at least it's a turf field though, so they don't have to worry about the mud and all that.
Yeah, well, injuries are still an issue. Since
it
it's
is MetLife.
Yeah. Interesting situation. I don't know if he actually signed or not, but I called him free agent tight end Luke Wilson. He retired because of a heart condition that they found, I guess, when he did his physical signing with the Seahawks. I would assume that's where they found it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Luke Wilson not signing with the Seahawks. He is now retired. The Seahawks, we talked about how they acquired John Reed. Well, Before they did that, they released a corner. That corner is Pierre Desir. Will most likely latch on somewhere, I would assume. Decent depth corner there.
Yeah. Obviously, he was a Jet for a brief time. Was that last year or 2 years ago? Whenever it was. But yeah, he's definitely better suited as a depth piece than a premier player because that didn't work out too well with the Jets last year or whenever he played with us.
The Browns wide receiver Davion Davis, he is suspended for the first 2 games, violating the NFL policy and program on substances of abuse. So that is not good. Don't have any other details on Davis's suspension. Most likely not going to make the roster regardless in Cleveland. The Texans, they hosted a couple guys for visits this week.
Shocker.
Those 2 guys were corner Rasul Douglas, recently released by the Raiders, and linebacker Tahir Whitehead, released by the Panthers this offseason as well. So I don't know. I really think Rasul Douglas has been a lot much improved since the time when he was in Philadelphia as a second-day draft pick. You know, I thought he played well with the Panthers. Not sure how well he was doing with the Raiders. Obviously, they cut him, but I thought he was playing well when he was in Carolina. So, wouldn't be a terrible move by the Texans.
I don't even know what to say anymore when it comes to the Texans. They literally want to sign every player that's on the market.
The Bills wide receiver Isaiah Mckenzie, he suffered a shoulder injury in practice this week. Haven't heard any update on that, but he's been having a really good training camp as a receiver, not as just a punt returner. As a receiver, he has been having a pretty good camp, looking to solidify probably the 4th spot. No, the 5th wide receiver spot, actually, because they have Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, and Gabriel Davis ahead of him.
He was one of the players that got fined for the not wearing the mask too, I think. So he's had a rough week.
Yes, him and Cole Beasley both fined for COVID violations. The Hall of Fame Senior Committee, they announced their 2 senior finalists. Their senior player finalist is Raiders wide receiver Cliff Branch, and their senior head coach finalist or coaching finalist is former Eagles and Rams head coach Dick Vermeil for the class of 2022.
Both solid.
Yeah, I would love to see Dick Vermeil get in. I mean, I know he never won much with the Eagles, but he did take them to a Super Bowl and obviously took the Rams to their only Super Bowl win ever. So
he was the coach in the movie Invincible, wasn't he?
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Giants tight end Kyle Rudolph, he passed his physical, got back to practice this week. Good sign for the Giants. It's kind of funny because their top 2 tight ends have had injury issues, as we know very well from Evan Ingram and the amount of games that he has missed over his career. So Steelers tonight, Dwayne Haskins, he is going to start and play the majority of the game. I'm not sure when it's going to be Haskins and Josh Dobbs tonight. But yeah, I'm gonna love to see Haskins get a lot of reps. It's kind of sad though because Big Ben, Mason Rudolph, Najee Harris all not gonna play. But I think the biggest thing for me is Mason Rudolph not playing. That means Mason Rudolph is solidified as the number 2. Haskins fighting Josh Dobbs for the number 3. I don't really think that's a fight. Josh Dobbs hasn't really played that much in the preseason anyways.
Yeah, and the Steelers are one of the 2 lucky teams that had that extra game, being the Hall of Fame game. So they've had a lot longer to evaluate. And I mean, if there's a coach in the NFL that could turn around a guy like Dwayne Haskins, I think Mike Tomlin's one of them.
Yes, I agree. The Jags, they announced their starter for week 1 at quarterback. It's Trevor Lawrence. Everyone was shocked, I know.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall pick. Obviously, there's been cases in the past where the number 1 pick doesn't play right away or whatever, or they are in an actual competition for quarterback or whatever. But I don't think this one was ever really a competition. I think, like, when Urban Meyer was hired, that he was like Trevor Lawrence was part of the discussion. So I don't think there was ever really a question, but I mean, Trevor Lawrence didn't necessarily earn the job though either. He didn't play that well in preseason, as we alluded to when we went over the the Saints game. But I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see a different side of him when the regular season actually comes around, but we'll have to wait and see.
The Broncos also announced their week 1 starter. It is Teddy Bridgewater. He beat out Drew Lock. As you saw probably on our Dynasty League, the Drew Lock's time ended on my Dynasty team finally after 2 seasons. Because I picked up a rookie that I'll probably cut anyways. Because I just don't have dude, cuts on Dynasty are very difficult. My roster is always a difficult situation, and then people go and players against me, and they're good. I mean, what can I say? I have a lot of good players that I can't keep.
Yeah, I know. This is a move that I kind of saw coming though. Ever since Bridgewater went to not Carolina, ever since he went to Denver from Carolina, I had a feeling that he was going to be the starter. Obviously, Drew Lock had struggled last year, and obviously there's a reason why they traded for Bridgewater. And I just think that Bridgewater was the overall better player. And again, this move didn't really surprise me. Now I'm kind of interested to see what happens with Drew Lock. Obviously, I think he's going to stick on the roster as the backup for now. But do they go back to him if Bridgewater struggles early on, or do they just stick with Bridgewater? Does Drew Lock get an opportunity somewhere else in the future to be the starter? I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see for that too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for them to not play Drew if Teddy isn't going well. But we'll have to wait and see, obviously. People believe that the Broncos have a very solid playoff caliber roster, and they were missing a quarterback, and not sure if Teddy's the one. I don't think he is, but obviously it's all in the future. So Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. He is going to play this week. We will finally see Joe Burrow for the first time since he went down with the ACL tear last season. Limited snaps, probably just one drive, and then be done with it. So, but it's good. It's good that we're finally going to see Joe on the field again.
How come he hasn't played all preseason though? Was it injury related, or they just didn't want to play him?
He was probably still working back, I would say, because it's not like he tore it in the beginning of the year. He tore it in the last quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Or third quarter of the year. I think it was like week 12.
Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, it's kind of funny though, because Saquon got hurt like week 3 and he still didn't play in the preseason. Now obviously running back, quarterback, different positions, but I just find that funny that Saquon hasn't played and Burrow is when he got hurt later than Saquon did.
Yeah, but Saquon's also been injured multiple times in the last few years too, so it might take his process a little longer. And
right.
They might, because he came back inhumanely fast from the one injury. So I don't know if that really, I don't know if that had a factor in him getting re-injured or whatever, but I definitely think that they're taking their time with Saquon this time.
Yes, I agree. Speaking of the Giants, though, corner Adoree Jackson, he has a low ankle sprain. Luckily for him, that it's a low ankle and not high. So he's questionable. I believe he's week to week is what he is right now. But they said that he could still be ready by week 1, which, the Giants need all the secondary help that they can get. So. Going across town, your Jets, Chris. Another pass rusher lost. DN Vinny Curry placed on IR. He has a blood disorder that he was diagnosed with. It was he had to get his spleen taken out, and I guess that's how. And then he was on blood thinners. He has to be on blood thinners because while he was getting his spleen taken out, he got a blood clot. So now he's on blood thinners to get the blood clot taken care of. And it's going to be 6 to 9 months on blood thinners. Obviously, the risk of someone that is on blood thinners, hard contact to someone on those pills, internal bleeding becomes a major risk. So,
obviously something like that you can't see coming, but that's just. I don't think he was going to have that big of an impact on the Jets anyway. He was going to be a situational pass rusher or whatever, but just the fact that the Jets have lost so much on their defensive line now, maybe he was going to play a bigger role than he was originally going to, but now obviously he's out, and he's an older player too. I think he's in his early 30s. So
yes,
I don't know if this might kind of end his career. Obviously, he didn't say he was retiring now, but if this situation doesn't resolve itself when it's supposed to, or whatever, he might not be able to come back when he's supposed to.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. He could literally be out, done, for good, but he says he's looking forward to getting back next season. So I think that he should be fine and that he will be back. Whether that's with the Jets or someone else.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a 1-year contract with him, so I don't know if the Jets saw enough that they liked, they might re-sign him, but I don't know. Again, he's older right now, so I think he's definitely more suited for the situational role. So I don't know if the Jets are going to look for that, or if he would rather go to a contending team that needs just that situational piece.
The Packers, they placed wide receiver Devin Funchess on IR. He is done for the year. They actually waived him from IR with an injury settlement. So Funchess now will be out 3 straight seasons. Hurt in 2019, opted out last year, hurt again 2021. I was surprised because I didn't even hear about him getting injured until they said he got put on IR. And I was like, what happened? I didn't even know he was injured. Like, and I really thought that he was going to help this year. I really did.
Yeah. Yeah, I had no idea either. But I mean, I don't know if they saw this coming, or like I don't know how long he's been injured or whatever. Like I don't know if the Randall Cobb trade had anything to do with it. I don't think so. I think that was more for Rodgers than anything. But that Randall Cobb trade though is looking a lot better than it originally was, because now they actually need a guy like Randall Cobb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure. Also, getting waived from IR this week. Eagles waived running back Kerryon Johnson from the IR with an injury settlement. That one, it's kind of the same thing. It's giving a player a chance to latch on with the team whenever they are eventually healthy. So I don't really have an issue with that. I didn't think Kerryon was going to make the roster, even if he was healthy. So,
yeah, and that kind of I know all offseason we were saying how the running back room for the Eagles was crowded anyway, so that kind of resolved itself with that injury for Kerryon.
Right.
And now the Eagles didn't have to make a decision.
Okay. The Seahawks, they're going to induct 2 guys into their Ring of Honor this season. Former quarterback Matt Hasselbeck, he will get inducted in October 25th. And then head coach Mike Holmgren on the 31st of October. Now, trying to see who they play. The night Hasselbeck gets inducted, that's a Monday Night Football game against the Saints. And then the 31st for Holmgren will be a afternoon 4:05 kickoff against the Jags.
Those are some, I mean, I don't know if the dates have any significance, but I would have thought that they would have rather done it against like a division rival or something. Or, I mean, I was kind of really hoping that you were going to say that the night that they are inducting Hasselbeck was going to be against the Packers, because that was the team that he had the famous call in the playoffs against. So,
well, the Packers is the next week after Holmgren, the 14th, but that one's in Green Bay though.
well,
yeah, the home games that they had available for the inductions, the Titans, Rams, Saints, Jags, Cardinals, Niners, Bears and Lions. So
yeah, like I said, I think that I think it would have been probably better to do like one of the division rival games, like against the Rams or something, because like those are the kind of games. I'm just thinking from like a management perspective, like a team management. Those are the kind of games where you want the fans to be there. Not that you don't want fans at other games, but like the division games are the ones that matter. So you want the most noise on those kind of nights. So I feel like things like that would be perfect to attract those kind of fans. Now, obviously, they might have other like promotional nights or whatever for those games, but still.
yeah, I think the biggest issue also was that there's only 2 instances in the Seahawks schedule that they have back-to-back home games. And that the only other time that happens this season for them is the Bears and Lions. But the thing with that is that that's December 26th and January 2nd. So that is definitely not, I mean, those are definitely not a good 2-week span, the day after Christmas, the day after New Year's. So, yeah, I think they put that probably in the correct spot, especially because it's mid-season too. It's pretty good halfway point thing to do. The Titans, they signed free agent rookie running back Javion Hawkins. Probably won't make the roster, just a depth signing, but I thought it was relevant. I thought he was pretty decent coming out of Louisville this year. Went undrafted, but was with the Falcons as an undrafted signee, and now latches on with the Titans. Staying with the Titans, they placed quarterback Ryan Tannehill and 8 other players on the COVID list. They joined head coach Mike Vrabel on there. So yeah, big time COVID issues in Tennessee right now. Especially no head coach, no quarterback. They didn't list the other 8 players, but I'm sure you can find it if you look hard enough.
Yeah, I mean, luckily this is not regular season yet, so everybody should be back by the first game. But I mean, we saw it last year how it affected some games or whatever. But this year, obviously, they said that they weren't going to. I believe they said they weren't going to like reschedule games or whatever because of it, right? So it'll be interesting to see what or if any teams have a big outbreak. I mean, I know the Titans were a team, even last year, they had a big outbreak going on through their team. So here we are again with them. I don't know what's going on in Tennessee. I don't know if it's that they don't have strict enough policies within the team facility or something, but something's obviously not right there in Tennessee.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is vaxxed versus unvaxxed, and that is a conversation we will not get into. But yeah, also in division COVID issues, the Colts, they placed guard Quentin Nelson and left tackle Eric Fisher on the COVID list. So like you said, though, thank God it's not regular season, because regardless, whoever's at quarterback, they would be in some trouble without those 2 guys, specifically Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, I'm sure Carson Wentz is happy that this is happening now and not in the regular season.
Yeah, for sure. And just to let everyone know, the Jets-Eagles game is being delayed right now, is going to be delayed. I don't know if that flash outside was lightning or not. There was a flash outside my window, though, so I don't. Not sure what happened.
I mean, it must be raining like right over the stadium or something, because I'm in Jersey right now. Like I said, I'm not too far from the stadium right now, and it's sunny and like I don't see rain anywhere. I'm looking all around the sky. I don't see any sort of rain cloud or anything anywhere. So I don't know. It's weird.
That's good. That's good. The Cowboys, they made some cap room. They converted $8.6 million of running back Ezekiel Elliott's $9.6 million base salary into a signing bonus. That helped them create $6.88 million in cap space. Just trying to get some room to maneuver as cuts happen. The guys that you have signed as undrafted free agents or straight free agents, sometimes those guys are in demand, so you give them signing bonuses. Those signing bonuses are guaranteed. That cuts into your cap space, leaves you with a little bit of dead cap per guy that you cut that had a signing bonus. So that's how cuts usually work against the cap every year. You're always going to lose a little bit of cap space when you cut down. And this helps the Cowboys do that. So a couple things left here. The Bills, they activated wide receivers Cole Beasley and Gabriel Davis, and defensive tackles Vernon Butler and Starlo Tulele off of the COVID list. Like we said, Cole Beasley, Isaiah Mckenzie for the Bills, both were fined for COVID violations. All four of these guys, though, Beasley, Davis, Butler, and Lotulele, they had all been on the list because of being close contacts with an athletic trainer that tested positive. So, yeah. And last thing here, the Niners wide receiver / kick returner, Richie James, he's going to have knee surgery and be out about 6 weeks. So they're going to have to find a new kick returner there in San Fran. All right, let's get to the SEC preview. That's all for NFL news, by the way. SEC preview here. We have the SEC East, the SEC West. And I'm going with the Dogs, baby. The Dogs to win it all, actually. Sorry, I just ruined my national championship pick that we're going to pick on next Friday's show. But, yeah, Georgia to win the SEC. JT Daniels is going to be fantastic. He looked great in his 4 games at the end of the year, 3 regular season, 1 in the bowl game, beating Cincinnati. Their defense is going to reload. They lost a lot of guys to the NFL, but they always do every year. The issue is going to be wide receiver health. Pickens out for the year, for the majority of the year. He could be back if they make a playoff run potentially, or for a bowl game. They also have had Demetrius Robertson. He's been hurt as well. I love the tight ends. Darnell Washington is massive. He's 6'8". I'm not sure what has happened with Eric Gilbert at the tight end position, because he was 5-star transfer from LSU, but apparently he's not with a team anymore, so I'm not sure what went on there. Zamir White returns in the backfield, though, along with James Cook at the running back position. They're always loaded there, so I think the Dogs got it, especially in the East, and they're going to at least make the SEC championship game this year.
Yeah, I mean, normally I'd call you a homer in this situation, but no, I agree with you. I think that Georgia has a solid chance. I agree with you. I think they win the SEC, whatever, but I also, like you said, I think they have a solid chance at the very least being in the national championship. I don't know about winning it, but yes, I think that they can make it to the national championship. It's funny because I was watching one of the sports channels earlier today. I don't even remember which one, but there was a FanDuel commercial that came on, and it was saying all the odds for each of these college teams to win the national championship or whatever. And they had Georgia at 2-1 as the favorite. So, yeah, obviously Georgia is a solid pick for the national championship. As for like the other teams though on that side of the conference, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree with Florida at 2. I don't know off the top of my head who's replacing Kyle Trask, but I do know that losing Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts is a big deal no matter who's replacing them. So, I mean, I don't know. Again, in the past I've said I'm a big believer in the fact that college is more of a system than the players themselves, but Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts are both pretty special in their own ways. So they're going to be hard to replace regardless of system.
Yeah, the thing is with Florida, Emory Jones comes in at the quarterback position to replace Kyle Trask. Kyle Pitts is hard to replace, I agree, along with Kadarius Toney. But
yes,
like I said, I'm not a big believer in Emory Jones, but I just don't think anyone else in the East can compete with Florida. I mean, I think it's going to be close with Missouri. I think Missouri is definitely the next team that could compete possibly with Florida, just because they have Connor Bazelak back at the quarterback position. The issue with them is that they lost Larry Roundtree to the draft, and I'm not really sold on their wide receivers. But, Florida, they do return some guys. Damian Pierce, I believe, is back. Malik Davis. If they don't return those guys, then Florida could be really bad at the running back position. And I mean, actually, they probably lost a lot of wide receivers too. It looks like Jacob Copeland, probably the returning Justin Shorter as well at the wide receiver position. So maybe Florida probably is going to be ranked way too high at 13 right now. And I was actually hesitant to put Tennessee this high because of all the transfers, and I really shouldn't have put them this high. Mark, luckily Mark's not on here. He would probably rail me for putting Tennessee this high. Tennessee actually could probably be second to last in the East this year. Really, I mean, they just lost so much to transfers with the whole scandal that they had. But they do have a young quarterback, Harrison Bailey, coming back. Their running backs are all gone. Transfers. Jabari Small is the leading rusher from last season. They returned Velus Jones, Jalen Hyatt. So I'm not sure, but I just think that the other three teams don't have much. In my mind, anyways. I mean,
No, I agree with you. I mean, the bottom 4 teams there, if you showed me any combination of those 4 teams, I would be like, okay, like the 4 of those teams, I think are just that bad. I mean, maybe the Gamecocks being the number 4 team overall on that side, but
5.
Yeah.
5.
Well, no, but I'm saying I would maybe consider putting them up to 4. But other than that, though, I mean, those other teams, they're they have no shot at being in the top 3. I don't think.
I will say though, for Carolina, I really enjoy watching their running back, Kevin Harris. Very interesting player there. And that, geez, are you kidding me, dude? Kentucky doesn't even have their quarterback returning. I mean, the man transferred to New Mexico. Jeez. Yeah, that's intriguing. I didn't know that Terry Wilson transferred to New Mexico. I have no idea why he would do that. But they do return Cavassier Smoke, who is one of the faster, quicker running backs. That's probably the guy I would look to for Kentucky, I think, anyways. I do like their other running back, too, Asim Rose Jr., but it doesn't say what class he's in. I think he actually might be done. Maybe that's how you can tell if guys didn't return as seniors, that it just doesn't show a class, because there's been a couple guys where it doesn't show a class for, and maybe they just decided not to return. But there's a bunch of guys that, you know, I'm not sure that returned because it says senior, and I don't have a big, massive list of every senior that took the 6th year, the 5th or 6th year, whichever one, you know, redshirt seniors taking a 6th, true seniors taking a 5th. So I have no clue. But yeah, Georgia on the East, and I didn't even look at Vanderbilt's roster because always suck. But
yeah,
for the sake of looking at each roster here, or who the stats leaders from last year. By the way, people, that's how I am pretty much looking at these teams, just based off who they had from last season and who's returning. So, yeah, I have no clue who any of these people are for Vanderbilt. Let's move on. Bama, clear cut. Bama is going to win the SEC West. And I don't think many of the other teams in the SEC West got better this year. If anything, I think the division got easier for Bama because of who A&M lost. I think A&M's the clear-cut number 2 because of Jimbo Fisher and what he's built. They do have a new quarterback, obviously, Kellen Mond, now with the Vikings. But I think A&M's defense is really what's going to get them through. And plus they have Spiller still. What's his face? What's his first name?
Is that Isaiah? Or is that
Isaiah Spiller. I just thought, I don't know why. I thought Isaiah was CJ. I don't know. It just sounded too good that I was like, is it Isaiah though? But yeah, Isaiah Spiller returns back to Bama though before we get to A&M. So they have a new quarterback as well. You know, Bryce Young takes over for Mac Jones. The highly touted and QB in waiting for 2 seasons was Bryce Young as a former 5-star recruit. Making about $1 million this year in nil deals, supposedly. Anyways, Najee Harris is gone. Bijan Robinson, or not Bijan Robinson. He's at Texas. I just saw B Robinson, and I was like, I didn't know Bijan transferred from Bama to Texas. Brian Robinson, though, returns, I believe, as well as Jace McClellan at the running back position. They'll be stacked there. Wide receiver replacing Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. That is John Mechie. Also, Jaleel Billingsley as well at the tight end position. They have another guy at the wideout position, Slade Bolden. So, yeah, they are still stacked. Xavier Williams gone, I believe. So, yeah, Bam is still stacked. Bam, A&M, I was kind of surprised they were listed as number 6 in the preseason, considering the loss of Kellen Mond. And I can't remember if they listed him as the starter or not. The only other quarterback that threw a pass last year, Haynes King, I saw a blurb on the ESPN ticker when I was watching something on there, and I can't recall if he was the guy that Jimbo named as a starter or not. So I'm not sure, but I think it is. Running backs are fantastic. Like we said, Isaiah Spiller returns. They also have Devon Achane returning there. Anias Smith is a do-it-all wide receiver, and then Jalen Weidermeyer is one of the top tight ends in the country. So they're going to be stacked on offense. It's just, can the quarterback get the playmakers the ball? That's what we got to figure out. Because if he can, like I said, I think their defense is pretty good, and they can make a run at Bama.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if Bryce Young is not panning out.
Yeah, but I mean, Alabama is literally the epitome of like a system in college. Like, no matter what players are wearing the Alabama uniform, they seem to always be in the top of the entire college ranks. And I mean, a large part of that obviously is the recruiting of the 5-star players, because they seem to annually also get the most high-ranked players. But I mean, every year I feel like I'm like, okay, this is the year Alabama's going to be really bad. It's the year that Nick Saban's going to crumble, and then they come out and win another championship. So never will I be on the Alabama bandwagon, because I don't like Alabama. I don't like Nick Saban. But I've learned to not go against them anymore, because just like Belichick and the Patriots, they will always be there. So, yeah, they're the clear-cut number 1. But I feel like this division is a lot tougher than the other one. I mean, obviously, no, Alabama's number 1, whatever. But I feel like the rest of the teams in this division are a lot better than the ones on the other side of that, on that page right there. I mean, LSU, obviously, they won the championship 2 years ago. They had that amazing season 2 years ago. And obviously, they lost so many players from that team. But I don't know. I still think LSU has a chance, even with all the off-field stuff going on with their coach and all that too. But still, I don't know. A&M, I'm not ready to crown them as the number 2 yet, though, because I don't really know much about their quarterback coming in and all that. So once I see them play, maybe I'll be ready to crown them number 2. But yeah, I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah, I agree with the quarterback. I understand. And I think a lot of people are probably surprised at the number 3 play, because, you know, I am a believer now in Ole Miss. I'm on the Ole Miss train. Matt Corral has been talked up all over this offseason so far. And I'm with it, man. I am all in on Matt Corral, and they have Jerry and Ely in the backfield, Dontario Drummond at the wide receiver position. So I like it. I think they got a chance, and if they can play defense, I mean, they could get the number 2 spot. And the thing is we already know Matt Corral. He didn't beat Bama last year, but he came very close, and he lit Bama up, though. I don't remember the exact how many points they scored or how many yards he threw for, but I do remember that he had himself quite a game against Alabama last year, and they almost pulled it off. But yeah, Matt Corral, Darian Ely, Dontario Drummond. Ole Miss Rebels should be making some hay this year. And like I said, I think a lot of people are surprised that I have Ole Miss third over a ranked LSU. LSU, I believe, ranked number 16 right now, if I am correct. Yes, number 16 is LSU. And the reasoning is because I like the quarterback. I like Max Johnson. People are even saying that Max Johnson is a sleeper for Heisman this year. I wouldn't go that far. I'm just not sold on running backs, particularly. And they lost even more at the wide receiver position this offseason. Racey McMath is in the NFL. They do have one guy, though, Kayshon Boutte, or Bodie. I'm not sure how you say it. It's Boutte. Bodie or Booty. Not sure. I think it's Bodie. I don't know. But yeah, I am not sold on the position players. I think the defense is going to carry them this year while Max Johnson matures with the young playmakers that they have on offense. So, yes, I like Max Johnson, but I like the set of playmakers that Ole Miss has better, and that's why Ole Miss is 3. People are also probably surprised that Auburn is number 5 in its own division. Now they have Bo Nix. Bo Nix has been the savior of Auburn, right? They have Tank Bigsby at the running back position. They have, they lost a bunch of receivers, so that's probably an issue. They lost their top 3 receiving leaders from last year, and the only guy that's listed that's coming back, granted he's listed as a senior on ESPN, so I don't know. He only had 9 receptions for 97 yards last year. That's their leading, and he's a tight end. That's their leading receiver. So yeah, a lot of new guys to throw to for Bo Nix. The running backs, that's the thing. Auburn should ground and pound this year. They really don't have a choice. So Bo Nix, Tank Bigsby, in that aspect, if they can control the game and their defense plays well, I wouldn't have an issue of them finishing 3rd or even 4th above LSU. The West is by far the best division, just depth-wise, because I think that the 2 through 4 really has a chance of anyone can be any of those slots. So I wouldn't be surprised. But that is not what I wanted, Tyler Naquin. Freaking Reds, dude. I do not need scoring for the Reds right now. I need them to not score. That is the whole point of betting the under. Mississippi State, I'm not sure about their guys because KJ Costello is gone. Will Rogers takes over at quarterback there. But they had the Pirate as the coach, so you never know. He's probably going to upset some people that they don't think. And then Arkansas, I have no clue who's playing quarterback because Felipe Franks is now with the Falcons. I guess Traylon Smith returns as the top running back. The guy I like, though, is Treylon Burks, wide receiver for Arkansas. I think he's the best player they have on offense. But yeah, Arkansas is at the bottom. So,
Yep.
in terms of amount of bowl teams, let's see. I'm gonna go. Let's go 10. 10 out of 14.
Who are the 4 that don't make it?
Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Arkansas. The
I don't
bottom
know.
in each division.
I think that there might be one less than that. I think that there would be probably 9. I think that either Tennessee or South Carolina doesn't make it.
I can see that. I could definitely see that. I mean, wouldn't be surprised. And before we get to the Sun Belt, just to update people who are trying to watch the Jets-Eagles game, they announced that it got moved back a half an hour, so kickoff 8 o'clock Eastern for everyone there. 7 o'clock my time. Great. I get to watch the Steelers game for a half hour before that. Because I got to stream both of them because neither are on national TV tonight. So,
of course,
I don't know how I'm going to do that. But all right, Sun Belt. Here we go. This is what we love to see. Sun Belt. Sun Belt is an intriguing conference. A lot of good players in Sun Belt.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. Grayson McCall will lead the Chanticleers to another Sun Belt championship. And I will caution, Coastal Carolina will be in position. I'm not saying they will get it, but they will be they will stay close enough this year to be in contention to get the at-large bid in the New Year's Six this year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Cincinnati is more than likely going to get it, but I'm just saying, I think Coastal, I haven't looked at their schedule, but I highly believe Coastal can go undefeated. There's probably only 2 games that I think they're going to struggle with. 2 away games. But I think they're going to win every home game. That is at Appalachian State and at Georgia Southern. The number 2 and number 3 in their own division.
Mm-hmm.
The East, Sun Belt East. But and the thing with Coastal is they lost some guys. Not gonna say they didn't. CJ Marable now with the Bears, so they got to replace him at the running back position. But Reese White, he ran for 478 yards last year, as well as Shamari Jones, listed as a senior, so not sure about him, but he ran for 398. They do return the highly likely receiving scenario, the receivers, I believe, anyways. Javon Hiley, the wide receiver, listed as a senior. Isaiah Likely also listed as a senior at tight end. I believe they returned those guys. I think they wanted to run it back again because I think otherwise those 2 would be on NFL rosters right now if they weren't back with the Chants. So, and they're going to return a lot of guys on the Black Swarm defense. So, Coastal is your 2021 Sun Belt champions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think they are the clear Eastern Sun Belt champions, and Sun Belt champions overall too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know the schedule off the top of my head either. I don't have it in front of me, but
what do you want to know? I got it.
Well, I'm just what's their other away games? I think that they're going to go undefeated at home no matter what as well.
Their other away games at Buffalo, at Arkansas State, and at South Alabama.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what to think about Buffalo this year because obviously they lost a couple big pieces too. But I think that might be the only other one that they would possibly struggle in because it is relatively far away, even though it is still in the same time zone, I think. But I think that might be their furthest game that they have to go to.
Yeah, probably.
And I mean, teams always seem to struggle when it comes to traveling long distance. So, I mean, I don't know, but again, I don't know how good Buffalo is actually going to be this year with their departures. The one I'm thinking of mainly is Jared Patterson.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Coastal has a clear path to be the number one Sun Belt team this year.
Yeah, and they only play one Power 5 school just like they did last year, I believe. Anyways, I think they only played one because BYU is independent. So they play Kansas again. This time it's at Coastal though. Last year they played at Kansas, and beat them. So I have no qualms that they're going to beat Coastal, or that they're going to beat Kansas at Coastal Carolina in Myrtle Beach. So yeah, I don't think that's going to be any issue. The at Arkansas State, at South Alabama, I don't think their biggest issue is going to be the games in their own division. App State, Georgia Southern, Georgia State. All three of those teams I think are going to be very good. The only issue that I see with Appalachian State and the reasoning why I could see Georgia Southern finish second in the East is because App State is replacing their long time, and I'm talking long time, quarterback, starter for the last 3 seasons, I believe, at least, maybe even 4. No, last 3 seasons. Yes, starter. Zach Thomas, he left Appalachian State this year, finally. So they only had 2 other guys one other quarterback, 1 receiver threw 3 times, but there's only 1 other quarterback that threw a ball last year. He's listed as a senior this year, Jacob Westman. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Huesman. So that's their biggest issue because they're returning their running backs, Cameron Peoples and Dietrich Harrington, both back. The wide receivers also, Thomas Hennigan and Malik Williams, both back as well. They're going to be a well-oiled machine, and it sets up a really good game against Coastal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Southern, now they return their actually, no, they don't. Shai Wertz transferred to Louisville. So does this set up for, what's this guy's first name? Justin Tomlin, I believe, would take the quarterback position back. So actually that changes things in my mind. Actually, Georgia State might finish ahead of Georgia Southern. Now, Georgia Southern is still defensively very good. Their leading receiver also left for East Tennessee State. They do return tight end Caleb Hood. Yeah, I might have got it wrong, y'all. I was trying to rush through and I didn't look at these guys until during the show. So actually, yeah, I think Georgia State probably finishes above Georgia Southern and pushing App State for the third or the second spot, really. I mean, Quad Brown returns for Georgia State at quarterback. They also have Destin Coates at running back. I think he's a beast. Sam Pinckney returns at wide receiver to go along with Cornelius McCoy. So, yeah, I think Georgia State most definitely finishes third, and possibly even second if App State's new quarterback struggles.
Mm-hmm.
And then Troy, I feel bad for Troy. Last year, they upset some people. I mean, they did. Gunnar Watson returns at quarterback. Kamani Vidal at running back. And they at wide receiver. Oh, no. Their leading receiver last year transferred to Texas Tech. So Reggie Todd returns as the leading receiver from last year. Listed as a senior again. But I think we figured out that if they're listed as a senior, they're still on the roster. If there's no classification, they're either off the team or they graduated and did not take the extra year. Think so, anyways. As far as the Sun Belt West, I like the Raging Cajuns. They are ranked just like Coastal. They're number 23, right? One below Coastal. Levi Lewis returns at quarterback. Love him. He's a beast. They did lose Elijah Mitchell and Trey Regis, though, to the NFL. Their third leading rusher last year was Chris Smith, so he should be taking the reins there. As well as, I mean, Levi Lewis is going to give you production on the ground as well as a dual threat, so that'll help. Kyron Lacey, leading receiver, coming back, as well as Jalen Williams and Peter LeBlanc. So really like Louisiana. Their defense is always really good as well. So now the next four, I was very unsure about. This is the opposite of the SEC. The SEC West is really good. The Sun Belt East is really good. Sun Belt West is not that great, below Louisiana.
Mm.
So I went with South Alabama. Originally, I had Arkansas State above South Alabama. But when I look at USA here, Desmond Trotter returns at quarterback. Really like him there. Carlos Davis left, but Terrion Avery returns at running back. And then the guy I really love, Jalen Tolbert, the wide receiver, he is a beast. They did lose Kawan Baker to the NFL, current 7th round pick for the Saints this year. So, but yeah, the Trotter to Tolbert connection, I think, is going to be the one to watch there for the Panthers. I believe they are the South Alabama Panthers. I think so. The Jaguars. They're the Jags, yes. South Alabama Jaguars, that's right. As far as the Red Wolves of Arkansas State now, I don't think they're going to have a 2-quarterback system like they did last year because Logan Bonner transferred to Utah State. So that leaves Lane Hatcher as the guy that threw the most passes, 2,000 yards through the air last year. Their leading rusher is not coming back. He's gone. So Lincoln Pere is going to pick up the slack there. Jonathan Adams, the guy I loved last year, he is in the league now, so it falls to Dahu Green. And Brandon Bowling also went to Utah State. So Dahu Green, really the guy. They do have Corey Rucker as well. But yeah, I think Dahu Green is going to be the guy there. I think Arkansas State, South Alabama are interchangeable. I think both could be good and take the second spot. So not sure about that. And then Texas State. Now, Texas State was interesting. they have a couple guys that return that threw a bunch last year. Brady McBride and Tyler Vitt both return at quarterback. So we'll have to see who actually is throwing the ball. Calvin Hill as the running back. He is back this year. And the receivers are all back as well. Marcel Barbie and Jeremiah Hadel actually is not back. He's with the Rams. But yeah, Barbie at wide receiver, like him. Again, I think the West is weird, and I wouldn't be surprised if Texas State is third or second. I think third probably be their ceiling. But yeah, dude, I mean, Texas State could be decent anyways. Not bowl decent, but decent enough for what they have. And then UL Monroe, I have no idea who most of their people are. They do return quarterback Colby Sweets, or Colby Suits. So that's that. The other guys I don't really know at the skill positioners. So.
Yeah, UL Monroe is by far the worst team I think on this whole graphic. But yeah, Raging Cajuns are the clear number one, but I don't really necessarily think that they're a good team. I think it's just a factor of the fact that they're in the Sun Belt West, which is quite possibly one of the worst divisions in all of college football, because these teams are just that bad. I haven't been a big Raging Cajuns believer. Again, I think it's mainly just because of the division they're in. They're just the best team in this bad division. I don't know if you could really compare it, but I feel like this division is almost like the NFC East in the NFL. I think the teams are that bad.
But Louisiana, they upset Iowa State last year.
I mean, but one upset, I mean, is whatever. But these teams are just, I don't believe in them at all. And just the side note too, we were talking about this division specifically before the show because this is the last thing you were putting together. And I said I don't believe in Southern Alabama, but that wasn't the team I thought. Like, for some reason, when you said Southern Alabama, I thought of Southeastern Louisiana, the team with the big golden lion as their mascot. That team, yeah, that team I don't believe in. And not that I believe in South Alabama either, but yeah, for some reason I thought of Southeastern Louisiana when you said Southern Alabama before. But yeah, the West is really bad, especially compared to the Sun Belt East there.
Yeah, I'm getting hyped for college football tomorrow. Also getting hyped to watch Sam Darnold play a whole half tonight against the Steelers. So that's going to be something to watch. Very interested to watch that game. It's starting already, so we got to be quick to get off here so I can actually watch it before the Eagles come on. But anyways, bowl teams for Sun Belt, I think 5, just 5, possibly 6. But yeah, the top 4 in the East, I think all make bowls. Coastal, App State, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, and then Louisiana makes a bowl. And like I said, the 6th one, I think USA or Arkansas State could possibly sneak in there.
Yeah, I think that there's 3 locks for the bowls. It's the 2 division winners and then Appalachian State. I think those are the 3 locks. The 2 Georgia teams, I think, will, but there's also, I think, a chance that they don't make it to the bowls either. But yeah, I could definitely see those 5 teams making it. I don't know about anybody else.
All right. Actually, I forgot. We can't really go quickly because we got to do these game previews for this weekend. So tomorrow, I don't have slides for them because I didn't have time to do that. But college football tomorrow. Here we go. week 0, we got 4 games. Actually 5 games. I thought it was 4. It's actually 5. But anyways, Nebraska 7-point favorite at Illinois. Over under is 55. 1:00 on Fox. And Mark and I were joking about this, but I wouldn't be shocked if Illinois beats Nebraska. I think Scott Frost has to be fired on the spot.
Yeah.
It's just Illinois is not that good. And I think Nebraska rightly is favored. 7 points is decent. I didn't put anything in for these games, betting wise, yet. Maybe I will tomorrow morning. But actually, no, I did. I included, or no, that's never mind. That's for week 1 next weekend. So I have that in for next weekend. But yeah, I think Illinois, or I think Nebraska wins. Illinois covers though. And then under 55. I don't think either team is that great. Both teams should score in the 20s, low 20s. That gets you under 55.
Yeah.
All right. Next game, Yukon at Fresno State. This is the biggest spread of the weekend. Fresno State favored by 27.5. Over under is 63. 2 p.m. on CBS Sportsnet. Yeah, there's absolutely no way Fresno State's going to roll them. I don't know about 27.5. They probably will cover that, but I would not suggest betting the spread in this one.
I mean, the number that sticks out more to me is the 63.5, you said, right?
63 flat.
Oh, so, well, still, if one team is supposed to be that bad, I mean, I know there's been instances where teams have scored like 70 on their own. I don't know if this is going to be one of those instances, though. But usually you need a little bit of help from both teams. I don't know if Yukon can really score enough to hit that 63.
Yeah, I think that one will be close. I could see Fresno putting up 49. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that means you need 2 touchdowns from Yukon. Can they do that? I don't know. So I definitely, like I said, cautioning, do not bet 27.5 for Fresno. Granted, I'll probably be wrong on that aspect, but I would take the safe route and not bet anything on that game. So next one, Hawaii at UCLA. UCLA favored by 17.5. Over under is 68. This one is 3:30 Eastern on ESPN. Now, this game I love for betting, dude. The most interesting nugget I have heard all day when just looking at the game preview on ESPN. Chip Kelly has never won a non-conference game at UCLA. Never. Never beaten anyone out of conference.
Can't say I'm surprised.
And granted, it's Hawaii coming, so it's decently long way. It's, you know, the closest they can come when coming to the continental United States. And I'm telling you, dude, mark me down for plus 17.5 for the Rainbow Warriors. Sprinkle a little bit on Hawaii money line. I think Chevin Cordero can get it done. I am not a big believer in UCLA, like we said with the Pac-12 preview. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is really the guy, and I'm not very high on him at the quarterback position. But I am, like I said, about Chevin Cordero for the Rainbow Warriors there. So I'm telling you, take plus 17.5 for Hawaii and then sprinkle a little bit on Hawaii money line.
Yeah, I like that.
Not sure about the over-under. I think both teams could score a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if it's high scoring, so I'm not touching that. Even though
What is the
68.
What is it again? Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't like doing
Pretty
those high over-unders.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty high, so you'd expect probably under, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a high-scoring affair, especially because Chip Kelly is on the other side. Next one for college, UTEP at New Mexico State. UTEP favored by 10. Over-under is 59, 9:30 p.m. Not listed for a network. I like the minus 10, really. New Mexico State is worse than Yukon. I'm kind of surprised UTEP isn't favored by more.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I really like the Miners in this one. And I don't think I have much else to say about that game.
Yeah, that's one of the easier picks there. But what was the over-under for that one?
59.
That one's doable. I if I was to pick any of these over-unders, I mean, if I was to pick the over on any of these games so far, I might go with this one.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm probably taking the minus 10 for the Miners in that one. Last game for tomorrow on the college docket, Southern Utah at San Jose State. San Jose State, 24-point favorites. That over-under is 57. That is 10 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports. Yeah, this one should be a blowout, just like the Fresno State game. This one's even worse because Southern Utah is an FCS team. So yeah, I would not be surprised if this one gets out of hand rather quickly for San Jose State. FBS versus FCS, and Southern Utah is not a quality FCS team. But yeah. And there are 2 FCS games this weekend as well. We're not going to mention those really because I don't think they're that great of games. Unlike we will do during the NFL regular season and the NCAA regular season, where we will feature our FCS game of the week each week, just to stick with some of the players and follow the guys that we fell in love with this spring, just to follow some of their paths. I will say though, the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge is this weekend. If you want to watch FCS, it's Alcorn State at North Carolina Central. Alcorn favored by 15. 6 p.m. ESPN, or 7 p.m. ESPN, 6 p.m. my time, Central. I should just start listing the games on the script as Central time. Then you guys would be like, "What? That game's at 11 a.m." And be like, "Yeah, pretty much." All right, let's get into NFL game previews. We got games going on right now currently. Colts 2-0. They're 2-point favorites at the Lions 0-2. Currently, Colts down 7-3. Scores: Rodrigo Blankenship hit a 31-yard field goal to open it up, and then Tim Boyle hit Quintez Cephas for a 15-yard touchdown. End of the first quarter there in Detroit. Colts about to get the ball back. Over-under is 34 in that game. We already got 10 points, dude. 10 points in the first quarter. I'm not sure about that.
I don't know. I don't know if I like that.
And that one obviously started at 7 o'clock. Second game tonight, Eagles 0-2 at the Jets 2-0. Jets favored by 5.5. I was kind of surprised about that. But granted, the Eagles have played relatively poorly in in the preseason in their 2 games, especially their backups, and especially last Thursday, getting rolled 35-0 against the Patriots.
Yeah. Well, apparently Zach Wilson's not playing tonight, though, so that's a big factor for the Eagles in their chances of winning.
Yeah, and the line actually moved to 4.5. Maybe that was why it moved down a point. But yeah, I still think the Jets probably cover. I actually have a teaser line on the Jets tonight. I have the Jets Jets plus 1.5. I have them there. So kind of
the only 2 quarterbacks dressed for the Jets tonight are James Morgan and Josh Johnson.
Solid. So, I'm ready for
so Josh. Zach Wilson and Mike White are not playing tonight.
I'm down for some Josh Johnson time, dude. But yeah, like I said, I have the Jets plus 1.5. So kind of rooting for the Jets tonight a little bit, but also looking to see what the Eagles. I'm not even sure who's playing for the Eagles. I know most of the starters aren't. They have a lot of guys that aren't dressed. So
yeah, I don't know, but I decided to break out my new Elijah Moore jersey tonight. So
I was wondering how that goes. I couldn't tell what it was. I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, because my background kind of keeps making us go away sometimes. But yeah, I got this a couple weeks ago because I needed a new Jets jersey because I had nobody left on the team, and so I decided to go with Elijah Moore. But we'll see how that works out for me.
I'll be in that situation when Zach Ertz gets traded next week. But yeah, anyways, over under is 34 in the Eagles Jets game. Was supposed to start at 7:30, scheduled to kick off at 8 p.m. Eastern. Over under 34, though. We said a lot of backups playing in this one. Probably, I would think under. Why not? It's in the rain. It's gonna be sloppy. So, yeah, I think under is relatively safe in that one. Dang! I just got a tweet. Sam Darnold 6 for 6, 34 yards on the opening drive so far. Woo, baby. Let's go.
6 for 6 for only 34 yards, though.
Hey, that's.
We were talking about this last week. The number of completions doesn't add up with the number of yards.
Hey, that's a little bit under 4 yards per completion. I mean, 5. Little bit over 5 yards per completion. You know that's what Sam Darnold is, though. He's not a deep ball thrower necessarily. They have a lot of guys in Carolina, though, that are catch and run. So, third game tonight, Steelers 3-0 at the Panthers 0-2. Like we just said, Sam Darnold 6 for 6, 34 yards on the opening drive so far. Panthers favored by 3.5. Over under is 35, and that one kicked off at 7:30. Dwayne Haskins playing tonight. Panthers starters playing for probably the first half, at least the offense is. So, and I know they said the Panthers defense also starting defense was playing there.
Wait, Darnold was now 7 for 8 for 41 yards.
There you go. Dude, he's dinking and dunking his way down the field. Yep. Granted, it's against the backups, but that's what you want to see, obviously. If your starters are playing number 2s, you want to see them playing very well. They should be playing really, really good. So I would expect the Panthers to win, cover. I have the alternate line or the teaser. I have the teaser parlay. I went in with my boy Troy Hermo on Twitter, one of the best cappers on Twitter, has cancer. He's had cancer for a while, so one of the best people too in that aspect, keeps fighting every day. But yeah, he put out a teaser. He is Troy teasers that he does for the preseason so far. Jets plus 1.5. This is 6-point teaser, so add 6 points to what the lines are. So Jets plus 1.5, Colts plus 4.5, Steelers plus 10.5, and the Vikings plus 10.5. Vikings, the game going on tonight that is on NFL Network. 0-2 at the Chiefs, who are 2-0 in the preseason. Chiefs are 4.5-point favorites. Over under is 39, and that kicks off at 8:00 NFL Network. Not sure who's playing in that one either. I think Viking starters will be, but I could be wrong. I highly doubt that any of the Chiefs starters will be playing.
Yeah. Wait, just a quick update about the Carolina game, because it's very interesting that they did that. The Panthers had a 4th and 2 there on the 20-yard line. So that's a field goal opportunity, but they chose to go for it, and they turned it over on downs.
Yeah, I mean, if it would have been 4th and 3, they don't go for it, I bet. But 1 or 2 yards, you would think that you can get it. So, but still, not a bad drive for Darnold. 7 for 9, 41 yards. Pretty decent there. As well as Chuba Hubbard, 3 for 15 on the ground. All right, tomorrow's NFL games here. We got Packers 0-2 at the Bills 2-0. This is the biggest spread of the preseason slate this week. Bills favored by 9.5. That's because of the Trubisky. Really.
And the fact that the Packers don't play anybody in the preseason.
This is true. This is very true. It's most likely going to be Mitch Trubisky versus Kurt Benkert as the starting quarterbacks, I would think. So, yeah. I mean, if Trubisky plays as well as he did last week, Bills could have a chance of covering that. So, over-under is 37. We saw what a over-under in the 30s last week for the Bills did. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes over. So, 1 p.m. NFL Network. Bills on TV twice in a row in the preseason.
Yeah.
Cardinals Saints got canceled because of Hurricane Ida. Ravens 2-0, 3.5-point favorites at the Washington football team. 1-1 there. Over under is 33, and that is at 6 p.m. tomorrow. We're taking the Ravens, dude. They haven't lost in 19 straight preseason games, dude. They're gonna win 20 straight. And the thing about the 19 straight preseason, that hasn't been done. I believe they said it was since the Lombardi Packers. I believe that's who they said was the last team to do that. So that's ridiculous in its own right. Look at that, dude. Rodrigo is responding to the Eddie Pinheiro waving, dude. He's 2 for 2 tonight. Just hit a 36-yarder there. So there you go. Rodrigo responds to the Detroit touchdown. 6-7 Detroit. Yeah, so Ravens, yeah, we're going with them. Probably the under too. I believe the under has hit in all 3 of the Ravens games. I could be wrong about the first game they had, but last week it hit against Carolina. So Bears 1-1. They are 3-point favorites at the Titans, who are 2-0. Over under is 36. 7 p.m. NFL Network. And I believe the Bears are favored because the Titans have 9 players on COVID list. Plus,
yeah, I mean, I don't know who would have played in tonight or in the game anyway, but yeah, obviously Ryan Tannehill, the starting quarterback for the Titans, is one of the biggest names that's not playing.
And Vrabel's not going to be there either.
And yeah, Vrabel's not even coaching. So yeah, I mean, again, like we said when we talked about it in the news segment, good thing this is a preseason game and not a regular season game. But yeah, there's not much to say about this one because the only reason the Bears are favored, like you said, is because of all the people that are out for the Titans.
And also Justin Fields starts probably going to play a half, I would think. Bucks 0-2. They are 4-point favorites at the Texans, who are 2-0. Over-under is 36. And this one kicks off at 8 p.m. tomorrow. I'm kind of surprised the Bucks are favored. They haven't played anyone in the preseason, really. I mean, they did, but they haven't looked good at all. Their backups specifically have not looked very good.
Mm-hmm.
They've only scored 17 total points between the two games. 14 in week 1, 3 last week. So
against the Titans that are supposed to be losing to the Bears tomorrow. So
yeah, and they lost to the Bengals week 1 by 5. So I actually think the Texans are going to win. I think Davis Mills is going to ball out and make me keep him on my dynasty roster.
mm-hmm.
He's going to make me cut Josh Allen.
The only thing about the Texans, I'm looking at their injury reports here, and the Texans have 2 wide receivers that are questionable and 1 that's already on injured reserve. Nico Collins and Andre Roberts are both questionable, and Tywan Taylor is on the IR already. So they're having a little bit of an injury issue with the wide receivers there, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think Kiki QT will probably play a lot in that one. So he'll have a chance at probably being the leading receiver, depending on who plays. Over-under is 37, 8 p.m. for that one. Rams 0-2 at the Broncos, who are 2-0, 8.5 points for the Broncos in this one. They'll cover that. The Rams haven't played anyone of note in the preseason. Jake Funk will play again, though. He'll have a good game, I believe, once again. Be interested to see if Drew Lock plays or not after the loss of the starting quarterback position.
Yeah, I don't know. And again, looking here at the injury report too, is John Wolford the backup right now because he's on the injury list as questionable. So if he can't go,
they haven't played him all preseason.
So who's been playing then? Who's their other quarterback?
Well, Bryce Perkins played the entire game last week. In week 1, they played Perkins and Devlin Hodges. So they have those two.
I didn't know he was with the Rams though.
Yeah. He didn't play last week though. It was all Bryce Perkins. So, but yeah, it's probably going to be Bryce Perkins again. Maybe some of Duck Hodges if they want. So yeah, the Broncos should cover 8.5, I would believe, because
they do have the Broncos though. They have a couple big names on their injury list on the offense though. I don't know if they've been playing the starters in the preseason games because I haven't really been paying attention to their games. But Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, and KJ Hamler are all on the injury report right now. So if they can't go, those are 3 big names on their list.
Yeah, I don't think Cortland Sutton has played the entire preseason. Noah Fant has played sparingly. KJ Hamler's actually had a really good preseason. So I think if anyone plays, it might be him. But I think he only plays if Drew Lock is going to play. But the thing is, even if Drew Lock doesn't play, I still would think that Brett Rippon would be able to play well enough against the Rams to cover 8.5. Considering the Broncos destroyed the Seahawks last week, even though that was Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, and then Rippon. But over-under for that one is 34, 9:05 kickoff. Chargers 1-1 at the Seahawks, who are 0-2. Seahawks favored by 5.5. Over-under is 35, 10 p.m. on NFL Network tomorrow. Not sure about that game. I have no clue who's going to play and who's not. Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert not going to play, I would assume.
Yeah. One of your favorite wide receivers is on the injury report for the Chargers. Mike Williams is questionable.
That's perfect, dude. I just traded him away if you didn't see.
Somebody actually wanted him?
Yeah. I got a good price too, I thought, anyways. If sleeper loads, I can tell you. I traded Mike Williams and a 2024 third round pick for a 2022 third round pick, a 2023 fifth round pick, and a 2024 second round pick.
You won that trade.
Originally, I wanted a second rounder this coming year in 2022. But I figured getting the second rounder in 3 years would be fine.
There was just a kind of side note, since we were talking about this game, in our Dynasty League, I was offered a trade. I forget who it was. It might have been Russo, was trying to trade me Tyler Lockett and a fourth round pick for a 2022 first round pick and 2023 second round pick. And I immediately declined that.
Yeah, you want to trade for David Johnson?
No.
All right. Anyways, Sunday's games, last day of preseason here. So the Jags 0-2, they're favored by 3.5 at the Cowboys, who are 0-3. Over under is 37, 1 p.m. NFL Network. Most likely, no Trevor Lawrence. We already know Dak's not going to play. Unsure about the rest of the offense. I would assume not. So I would think it's going to be either Cooper Rush, Garrett Gilbert versus Gardner Minshew or CJ Beathard.
Yeah.
Dolphins 1-1 at the Bengals, who are also 1-1. Bengals favored by 1.5. Over under 36. 4 p.m. CBS gets their first game of the season out of the way in the last day of preseason there. But yeah, I wholeheartedly believe the Bengals will win. Joe Burrow is going to play at least one drive, so that they might get a score there. I don't think that any of the Dolphins starters are going to play because they have played very well throughout the preseason. So I don't think Brian Flores really needs to see anything else out of the offense or defense.
Yeah. A lot of Miami's offense is on the injured list anyway. Adam Shaheen is already listed as out. And Albert Wilson and Preston Williams are both questionable. So none of them probably play.
And look at that, dude. Ryan Santoso making his first field goal for the Panthers. It is 3-0 Carolina. Santoso kicks a 52-yarder and makes it.
He won the job.
I agree. All right, Raiders at Niners. Raiders 2-0, Niners 1-1. Niners favored by 5, actually. Wow, holy crap. What happened there? When I wrote the script just before the show, it was 3.5, and it's up to 5 right now. I don't know. Maybe they said Trey Lance is going to play more. I highly doubt Garoppolo will play at all. But yeah, maybe Trey Lance starts. Actually, I think that is what they said. I don't remember if they actually said that before or not, but I would think Trey Lance is going to start this game, probably do the same as Justin Fields in Chicago, play a whole half, and then let the backups go through. For the Raiders, maybe we'll see Mariota.
Well, he's listed as questionable on the injury report, so.
Well, the expectation was that he was going to play week 2, but he didn't. And Nathan Peterman has played 2 full games so far this preseason. So, hey, man, John Gruden loves Nathan Peterman.
Whatever floats his boat.
So, we could get 3. How about that, dude? Nathan Peterman, 3 full games in the preseason if Mariota doesn't play this one. And he's
Does
2-0.
that earn him an NFL roster spot though?
Oh, they keep 3 in Vegas. So
Well, so you think he's played himself onto the Raiders roster though?
yeah, John Green Wilson. There's no other competition for the third string. What would be interesting to see if the Raiders trade Mariota because Peterman played so well in the preseason. All right, that one over under 36 and 4 p.m. NFL Network. Patriots 2-0. They are 3-point favorites at the Giants, who are 0-2. Over under also 36, 6 p.m. NFL Network.
Yeah, I mean,
see Mac Jones. You think we see Mac Jones?
I think it all depends on did they announce a starter? Did they say Cam is the starter?
I don't think so.
So I think whoever plays or starts tomorrow, I don't think they're the starter.
Dude,
on Sunday.
Why the Eagles got to do that to me?
They already scored. Nice.
They know I have Jets plus 1.5, dude. Come on. Like, why do the Eagles got to do that?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if we see Mac Jones, but I don't think that we see any of the Giants starters tomorrow. Obviously, we talked about Barkley before. He's still kind of rehabbing from his injuries, whatever. Also, we know Galladay's injury history. He's already listed as questionable as well. And Kadarius Toney, I don't know. He's listed as questionable, but I don't see why he wouldn't play because I don't think he's a starter right now, right? He's the 4th receiver.
Unsure.
I believe he's the 4th receiver, so I don't see why he wouldn't play. And then they also have John Ross there on the injury report as well as questionable. So I don't know.
Yeah, 50-yard touchdown from Joe Flacco to Boston Scott. Thank you, Jets defense. Thank you. Really, dude? What are you guys doing? But last game here, Browns 2-0, 5.5-point favorites at the Falcons, who are 0-2. Over under is 36 and 8 p.m. NBC. We get some Sunday night football vibes going for the last game of the preseason.
It's funny. The Falcons have the shortest injury report out of all the teams I looked through. The only player on their injury report is AJ McCarron, who's on the injured reserve. They have no other players on the injury report, yet they're 6-point underdogs.
Well, it's the Browns. That's why. So, yeah, and Dwayne Haskins apparently just got picked off by Brian Burns. And so set up in good position for Sam Darnold there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we saw why Dwayne Haskins is a 3 and didn't beat Mason Rudolph for the job. But, all right. That is all for the show today. Apologize. It was a long one. There's a lot going on. But next Friday, we will have college football week 1. There is a massive slate of games we will be breaking down and previewing, also recapping all of the preseason games. Or not recapping all the preseason games. That's going to be on Monday. We're going to recap. There's a couple games during the week next week. There's one on Wednesday, a couple on Thursday as well that are important. The Wednesday one, not very much important, but we're going to do it because it's on Wednesday. It's the only game on Wednesday. And there's a couple ranked teams playing on Thursday. But yeah, and then we'll also give our picks for the Heisman Trophy and National Championship. Not sure if we're going to do our top 4 and then our championship, or if we're just doing our championship. What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. I like doing the whole field.
or top 6, I guess. First 2 out, and then top 4. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll make that happen. But yeah, on Monday, we're going to be recapping all the preseason games, the 5 NCAA games going on this weekend. And then also on Monday, since we're doing our Heisman National Champ picks, that show is already going to be long enough. Monday, we're going to do our player award picks for NFL. So offensive, defensive rookie of the year, offensive, defensive player of the year, MVP, comeback player of the year. I think I got them all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be our Monday show. And thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, as well as on Facebook and here on YouTube. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check out all of our previous shows there. Thank you, Chris, and we'll